units. To start off class today, you are going to need a piece of notebook paper. So if you need to pause the video to grab yourself a sheet of paper, go ahead and do so. We're going to take a look at the difference between thermal energy and temperature so we can understand what's going on inside our atmosphere. So on the board here, play with me. I just brewed a pot of nice hot tea and I poured myself a cup of that. These two substances may have the same temperature. However, they do not have the same thermal energy. And let me explain what that means. As we've learned before, all matter, all things are made up of lots of particles. And particles move around, that's their energy. And when we heat up particles like we did here with the tea, those particles start to move faster and they spread out. When substances are cooler, those particles slow down and they come together. So if I stuck a thermometer, our measuring tool, in both of these, we might end up with the exact same temperature. However, thermal energy looks at the whole amount of energy, and the teapot is going to have more. Why? Because there's more substance in this pot. Therefore, there are going to be more particles that are going to create more energy as they move around and bounce off one another. So we're going to start off on our lesson notes by defining the term temperature, which is what we refer to in our weather unit. So on your paper, I would like you to write the word temperature, okay, and then simply record the orange definition. Temperature is the average amount of energy of motion of each particle of a substance. As I just explained, what that means is how much those particles are moving around as they're heated or as they're cooled. In simple terms, we refer to it as how hot or cold something is. Okay, but please write down that definition. The tool we use to measure temperature is a thermometer. And I have an example of one here. So in your notes, we're going to also add the term thermometer, the tool used to measure temperature. Let me explain how this works. Most thermometers are a glass tube like you see here, and inside they have a liquid. It used to be mercury, but nowadays they use alcohol that has been colored. When we stick the thermometer into a substance that's warmer, the particles in that liquid start to move faster and bounce off of one another, and as a result, they want to spread out, become less dense. And the liquid inside this tube is gradually going to move up as those particles try to expand. There's nowhere else for them to go but up because of the glass tube. If I were to take this same thermometer and stick it into, let's say, iced tea, where the liquid is colder than what the room temperature is, those particles would start to slow down and they would gravitate toward one another, becoming more dense, and the liquid would travel back down the thermometer. So we're going to take these concepts of temperature and how we measure that and take a look at what's happening in our atmosphere today. The last thing I need you to do before moving on is to take that note sheet that you just wrote those two terms on, and we're going to create our graphic organizer. So go ahead and fold it into a 4 square. You guys have done this so many times. You're a little experts on it. Creating mine here. And you're going to use the back of your note sheet, the blank side, to create a Frayer today and the rest of our lesson. Have fun.